Welcome to Into the Unknown. I'm your host, Kraken. I've been a paranormal investigator for 14 years. When my dad passed away in 2010, I began experiencing some unusual things, which led me to become an active member in the paranormal community. In 2011, I helped found the National Paranormal Society and currently serve as a senior director overseeing two departments which cover investigation research, team resources, and photography. I have led 3 local paranormal teams and currently lead NPS of Texas. From 2011 to 2014, I was involved in the filming of NPS Alone as the only female investigator on a team of 5. I have previously hosted 3 paranormal shows: Torching Hot Topics with Torch Paranormal, DNS Live with DNS Paranormal Crew, and NPS Focus, all hosted on the Para Encounters Network. The study of the paranormal is called parapsychology. During the show, we will cover ghosts and hauntings, haunted locations, aliens and UAPs, also known as UFOs and ufology, cryptozoology, demonology, ancient mysteries, and the occult. Within these areas, we focus on photography, science, health and safety, technology, and investigation research, along with team resources. Since this is a featured show on the Meet Me app, I will not be able to acknowledge your comments in real time or thank you individually for your gifts. But I will take a moment at the end of the show to say thank you and to give some shout outs. If you have questions or comments for me, please stay after the show. Please also remember to keep the comments respectful in the chat and towards myself and my guests. Those who cannot contain themselves will be escorted out of the stream. Now, if y'all are ready, let's go into the unknown. Hey y'all, it's Sunday night. It's time for some unknown fun stuff. So let's go. You have officially crossed into the threshold into the unknown, your weekly featured show here on the Meet Me app, where the weird is welcome and the shadows are always watching. We go live here every Sunday at 11 p.m. and tonight we're heading into deeper, darker waters. Tonight's topic is demonology. The study of entities older, meaner, and far more complicated than your average bump in the night. We're not talking about Hollywood jump scares. We're talking ancient forces, real history, and the thin line between folklore, fear, and faith. I'll be serving up some chilling news stories from around the world, throwing some devilishly good trivia your way, answering your burning questions about demonology and the paranormal, and of course, I've got a special guest joining me who's brave enough to follow me into the deeper dark. So grab your salt, your sage, your favorite holy water, whatever gets you through. And remember, when you go looking into the darkness, sometimes it looks right back. My guest tonight is Rebel Rocker. Welcome to the unknown. Let's get started. Give me just a minute here. Here we go. All right. So before we dive headfirst into ancient sigils, cursed text, and the heavy hitters of the underworld, let's take a look at what's been stirring in the shadows around the world this week. Because while we're busy brushing up on demonology, the rest of the paranormal field isn't exactly sitting quietly either. Haunted headlines, mysterious discoveries, eerie encounters, you name it, it's out there, reminding us that the unknown doesn't take weekends off. So grab that second cup of coffee, or maybe something a little stronger, and let's see what the world of the weird has been up to this week. We're going to have some background sound, so I apologize for that. Let's start this segment off with a story close to me here in Texas where there was an alleged UFO sighting, but it was debunked. According to mysa.com, sanantonio.com, on April 30th, around 9:40 p.m. Central Time, a video captured over 20 mysterious lights above Austin's Barton Creek Greenbelt, sparking UFO speculation. Locals feared it was either a UFO fleet or a harbinger of some apocalyptic sort. However, experts debunked the lights and they were identified as Starlink satellites passing overhead during a heat lightning event. Despite the logical explanation, local paranormal groups insist the lights' behavior was too synchronized for satellites, fueling ongoing speculation. So I was able to grab a clip from IG of this UFO capture. So I want you guys to take a look at it and decide for yourself what you think it is. Here's the clip. Let's see what happens.
This could be the most paranormal thing I've ever seen in Austin. After witnessing one of the most spectacular silent lightning storms, over 20 mysterious unidentified objects appeared in the sky, all with a bright light and going in a perfect straight line. At first, it seemed like they were flying over my head, but at a second look, it now feels like they're going vertically in the air. And then they each started to slowly vanish through the sky, and everything was weirdly quiet. This was spotted over the Barton Creek Greenbelt. Now, I've got some speculations on what this could be, but let me know what you think in the comments. I don't think these are Starlinks. This is not how they should behave. Could it be a UFO or a UAP? Or is the silent lightning causing plasma effects to open temporary energetic pathways? The moon has a strange ring masking over top of it, which was visible in the video, but not with my bare eyes. It's also a waxing crescent moon, which represents a period of new beginnings. Now, I truly hope this isn't some evil mission that humans are doing, and maybe it's some extraterrestrial conscious trying to communicate with us. Send this video to someone who you think is out of this world.
What do y'all think? Chat in the comments about it. We can talk about it during the after show as well, but it's pretty interesting. All right, next up on the news. British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker predicts UFO disclosure in 2025 that will bring full government disclosure on UFOs, including revelations about Area 51 and having direct contact with extraterrestrial beings. This prediction aligns with the recent U.S. congressional hearings on unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAPs, and insiders claiming non-human biologics were recovered in crash retrievals. Hamilton Parker was quoted as saying, "The dam is cracking. This year will be historic." And there's our UFO. Critics argue that this is just another recycled claim, but believers are paying close attention to whistleblower activity. Read more about it at Higgy Pop Paranormal. Next up, guess what? A second Loch Ness sighting has been reported by Scottish local Fiona Stewart. Stewart reported seeing a dark gray shape emerge from Loch Ness during her lakeside walk, marking the second such sighting in 2025. Y'all, we're just into May. It's the second sighting. She managed to capture a photo of the anomaly before it submerged again. While it's blurry yet intriguing image, experts are examining the photo with some suggesting it could be a sturgeon or it could be a submerged log. This is the second sighting reporting in 2025 that is sparking renewed tourism and speculation that the cryptid may be more active this year. Check out Nexus Newsfeed for more information. Next up, according to GhostHound.com, it seems activity is picking up at Moundsville Penitentiary in West Virginia. Closed since 1995, the location is experiencing renewed paranormal activity. Ghost tour guides, investigators, and visitors are reporting a spike in shadow figure sightings, unexplained noises, cold spots, and even phantom voices calling out names. The hotspot? The Hole, which is the solitary confinement wing. It seems to be the most active. One tourist fainted during a tour after feeling held down by invisible hands. Paranormal researchers speculate construction nearby may have stirred up residual energies. Paranormal forums and investigators are tracking an unprecedented increase in sightings of shadow figures, tall, dark humanoid figures seen in peripheral or direct vision. According to woohoohunters.com, reports of shadowy humanoid figures have surged in 2025. Unlike sleep paralysis, many encounters now occur while they are fully awake and alert, often accompanied by feelings of dread. Theories suggest a shift in human consciousness might be increasing our perception of such phenomena. Some believe the rise in sightings is tied to solar activity, mass awakening, or even interdimensional bleed-throughs. Paranormal researchers are calling for a global database to track sightings and patterns. Sounds like a perfect fit for our NPS project endeavor we created back in 2014. You guys remember me talking about that. Very similar to MUFON's database. All right, coming up, we have the UFO Paranormal Summit 2025, which is set for May 2nd through 3rd. this past weekend in Quinault Beach Resort in Washington. The summit features speakers like David Hatcher Childress, author and recurring expert on ancient aliens, and Nick Pope, who's the former UK Ministry of Defense UFO investigator who also appears on Ancient Aliens. The event promises discussions on UFOs, alien encounters, and more, including alien abductions, government cover-ups, UAP disclosure, and experiencer panels. Nighttime skywatch sessions on the beach with CE5 protocols are scheduled. Vendors will also offer metaphysical tools, books, and alien-themed merchandise. This year's tagline, "The truth is no longer out there, it's right here." You can check it out at ufosummit.com for more details. On April 19th, Northern Nevada ghost hunters hosted a paranormal investigation at the historic and reportedly haunted Donovan Mill in Silver City, Nevada. Built in the 1800s, this mill played a crucial role in the Comstock lode. It is known for apparitions of miners, strange machinery sounds, disembodied voices, and shadow figures. Participants explored the mill's haunted history and reported various supernatural experiences, including chills, ghost box responses, and sudden EMF spikes. One guest claimed to hear their name whispered while alone in the cyanide room. The most active area was the stamp mill, where tools reportedly moved on their own. The proceeds of the event went towards mill preservation and historic education. Now, you guys should recognize this. According to Entertainment Weekly, the popular show X-Files has a reboot in the works. Gillian Anderson has expressed support for Ryan Coogler's upcoming reboot of The X-Files. While not confirmed to return as Dana Scully, she publicly supports the reboot and expressed curiosity about its direction, leaving fans excited for the series' return. What do we know about the reboot version? Well, Coogler's version will feature a diverse cast and global scope, potentially shifting away from Mulder and Scully and into new mythologies. Expect the same eerie tone, but with updated themes involving AI, surveillance, and modern conspiracies. Some purist X-File fans are skeptical about the reboot, but many welcome a refreshed take for a new generation. And our last news story comes from El Paz. It takes us to the province of Jaén in Spain, which offers a rich tapestry of paranormal attractions, from the ancient rituals at Punta Tablas to the mysterious Caras de Belmas. The Punta Tablas is the site of Iberian ritual activity tied to ancestor worship and celestial alignments. Some visitors report psychic impression or ancestral presences. As for Caras de Belmas, in 1971, human-like faces mysteriously appeared on Maria Gomez's kitchen floor. Scientists and skeptics debated the authenticity, but the phenomenon persists today, with new faces occasionally manifesting. Jaén embraces its reputation with tours, exhibits, and festivals dedicated to its haunted past. A quote from El Paz, "Jaén isn't just a province of olives, it's a province of omids." All right, so let's pop over. Let me get to my other screen here. It is time for paranormal trivia. So let's test your knowledge about all things eerie, ancient, and unexplained. But before we delve deeper into tonight's dark topic, I'm throwing down a trivia challenge to see just how sharp your senses really are. These questions are drawn straight from tonight's news, the demonology history, and the chilling truths hidden behind the myths. So write your answers down, keep them close, take a screenshot if you would like, but resist the urge to phone a priest. You'll have to wait till the end of the show to find out how you did. So let's see who's been paying attention at the end of the show and who's about to get schooled by the shadows. Here are our questions. Feel free to screenshot these as you're listening throughout the show. So, number 1. Which satellite system was responsible for the mysterious string of lights mistaken for UFOs over Austin, Texas? Number 2. British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker predicted full government disclosure on what paranormal topic in 2025? Number 3. Where did the second Loch Ness Monster sighting of 2025 reportedly take place? Number 4. What paranormal entity has seen a global spike in sightings, often described as dark humanoid figures seen in one's peripheral vision? Number 5. What ancient civilization gave us early beliefs about demons like Pazuzu and Lamatushu? Number 6. What is the term for an intense but non-possessive form of demonic influence, often causing fear, sleep disturbances, or depression. Number 7, what investigative method should always be followed first when evaluating claims of paranormal or demonic activity? Number 8, in a legitimate demonic case, what rare phenomenon might occur involving language? Number 9, which family member of Rocker Rebel's family comes to visit him? And number 10, what's one thing you probably didn't know about Rocker Rebel? Pay attention throughout the show for the answers. We'll come back to these questions later on. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome to Into the Unknown. I'm Kraken, and tonight we're digging into demonology, the darker, older side of the paranormal, where myths, mysteries, and maybe a few warnings all live side by side. We've covered ancient spirits, busted a few Hollywood myths, and we're just getting warmed up. My guest tonight is Rocker Rebel, so please be sure and hit the fave on him, myself, and each other in the comments. Go grab your salt, steady your nerves, and stick around, because the deeper we go, the stranger it's going to get. Now, let me get this back over where I need it to be. We're still showing this PowerPoint. Hang on. We should be here. I'm back to using PowerPoint for the show tonight, so it's taking me a little bit. All right. Now that your brain is buzzing with cursed trivia and ancient knowledge, let's shift gears and dive even deeper into tonight's main topic, which is demonology. So, in preparation for my shows, I always ask my guests if they have any burning questions they'd like for me to answer on air. Tonight, my guest, Rocker Rebel, sent in some fantastic ones. Honestly, the kind of smart, skeptical curiosity we need more of in this field. He wanted to know more about demonology, how to research it, and some background on the area. So before we bring him up, let's peel back a few layers of mystery and tackle what demonology really is and what it definitely isn't. I call this Demonology Unfiltered: what it is, how to study it, and what's real. So let's start with where to start if you want to research demonology seriously. Now, if you want to dig into demonology with a real understanding, not just the horror movie hype, you have to start at the source, which is ancient civilizations. In Mesopotamian lore, spirits like Pazuzu and Lamatusu were early examples of unseen forces blamed for illness, death, and destruction. In ancient Greece, daemons were considered neutral spirits, sometimes guiding, sometimes interfering. In early Judeo-Christian theology, demons became spiritual rebels, fallen angels locked in cosmic opposition. From there, serious study means digging into the primary text. These are the Ars Goetia, which details the hierarchy, abilities, and sigils of 72 demons. Demonology by King James I reveals how mass fear shaped spiritual beliefs during the witch hunts. The Malleus Maleficarum shows how misinformation and fear weaponized demonology into persecution. Also important, modern serious works like Hostage to the Devil by Malachi Martin and real-world field experiences from people like John Zaffis and Andrea Perron. But serious research isn't just about reading. It is also about cross-referencing sources, never to take one text at face value, understanding the historical context, beliefs change based on politics, war, and cultural shifts. Applying skeptical inquiry, always ask, what's the evidence? Who benefits from this version of the story? So if you're treating demonology like true investigative work, you question everything. Respect the lore, but don't blindly believe it. So next, let's take a look at how can you tell if something is truly demonic? Real demonic cases are extremely rare and often dramatically misunderstood. So here are some serious signs as an investigator that you should look for. Number 1, severe mental or emotional or both changes with no clear medical cause. Speaking or understanding languages the person has never studied, which is called xenoglossy. A violent reaction to sacred symbols across multiple belief systems, not just one. Physical manifestations, unnatural strength, levitation, witnessed and verified under controlled conditions. Now, let's look at something really important. What might look demonic but isn't, because not every disturbing situation is spiritual. Many cases that seem possessed are actually untreated and misunderstood medical conditions. Common mental health issues that can mimic oppression or possession are schizophrenia. Symptoms include hallucinations, disorganized thoughts, fear, and paranoia. Dissociative identity disorder, DID, sorry about that. Symptoms include shifts in personality, gaps in memory, and different speech patterns. Severe depression or anxiety disorders. Sometimes you feel like you are hopeless, under attack feelings, psychosomatic illnesses, that can be a part of all of that. Temporal lobe epilepsy. These symptoms include strange sensations of out-of-the-body experiences or blackouts that are mistaken for possession. Bipolar disorder or mania. Symptoms include grandiosity, bursts of uncontrollable energy or anger. And then last is PTSD. These symptoms include flashbacks, emotional detachment, and intense emotional shifts. There are also environmental factors that can also mimic demonic symptoms. These include carbon monoxide poisoning. These symptoms are hallucinations, confusion, extreme emotional swings. Toxic mold exposure. Symptoms include paranoia, memory loss, panic attacks. High EMF fields. These symptoms include the sense of being watched, headaches, and nausea. You guys, if you don't have an EMF meter when you're going out investigating, you need to get one. It's very, very important. So, what do serious investigators do first? Well, before jumping into spiritual conclusions, they look at, has a mental health evaluation been done by a professional? Has environmental testing such as carbon monoxide, EMF readings, toxic molds, etc. been done? Has there been long-term symptom tracking done? Have we looked at a pattern over time and not just a single scary moment? Only after ruling out natural causes should a case even start to be considered spiritual in origin. Because if we rush to scream demon without doing the real work first, we don't just look foolish. We risk leaving someone truly suffering without the real help that they need. And that's not just reckless, that's dangerous. So let's take a brief look at the history of demonology and where our concepts of demons began. First up, let's see. I am off here. Hang on just a second, y'all. I want to go back here. All right, sorry. This PowerPoint's messing me up. I need to go back to my OBS. All right, first up is Western traditions. There were Mesopotamian spirits like Pazuzu who brought disease but could also protect from worse evils. And I'm pretty sure that is here. So we've got some stuff messed up tonight. I apologize. Let me take a look here. We have totally... This is the first time I've done this using PowerPoint again. Let's go through myths and facts real quick. I apologize for this. All right. Myths versus fact. And let me get my script back where it's supposed to be so that we're good. All right. So, myth versus fact. All demons are fallen angels. This is a myth. Ancient demons often had nothing to do with angels at all. Myth versus fact. The Ars Goetia lists exactly 72 demons. This is a fact. Each one detailed is terrifying and specific. Myth versus fact. Every dark haunting is a demonic case. This is a myth. Most are human spirits, environmental anomalies, or fear responses. Demonic possession cases often involve speaking unknown languages. This is a fact. Verified in rare cases under strict conditions. Demons behave exactly like they do in horror movies. This is a myth. Real cases are slow, subtle, and psychological, not jump scare filled thrill rides. All right, 3 rules to follow when you're out investigating. Question everything, document everything, and protect yourself when you go out. All right, let's go back to here. I feel like I'm lost because my script is all messed up here. All right. So, demonology isn't about chasing the shadows blindly. It's about understanding ancient fears, questioning modern narratives, documenting real anomalies, and respecting forces we might not ever fully be able to explain. Curiosity is powerful, skepticism is essential, and fear is just another tool if you know how to use it. Tonight, as we dig deeper into demonology, remember true darkness isn't flashy, it's patient, it's subtle, and it's always waiting just beyond the edge of your flashlight. For those of you just joining us, welcome to the unknown. I am Kraken, your guide through tonight's darker, stranger journey. We're deep diving into the world of demonology, ancient lore, chilling myths, and the truths behind the fear. We've got trivia rolling, ghost gear glowing, and a special guest braving the shadows with me tonight. Tonight's guest is Rebel Rocker. Please be sure to hit the fave on me, my guest, and each other in the comments. And I think I'm actually getting his name wrong. It's Rocker Rebel. See, you guys, it's the demons. Stay close, stay curious, and maybe keep some salt nearby just in case, because we obviously need it. So, Rocker, if you can request the box, let's get ready for our guest segment. And maybe this part will go a little bit smoother than the rest of the night has gone. So, let's get him in the box over here. Let me switch over to my other screen and get Rocker Rebel in here. So, now that we have stirred the pot here, we've got our special guest in the box. Someone who's just as curious about the darker corners of the unknown as we are. He's braved the trivia, survived the deep dive into the demonology basics, and we're ready to jump headfirst into tonight's conversation. So, thanks for joining me on the show. I know you've been looking forward to coming on. I've been looking forward to having you. So, take a moment, introduce yourself.
I've been very looking forward to this.
I know, it's so much fun being on here. Introduce yourself. Tell everybody when you stream, where to find you, what you have coming up, any shows you've got coming up, auctions, all that kind of fun stuff.
I'm Rocker Rebel, or also known as AJ. You can find me every Thursday at House of Wonderland open mic night in Alice's stream, top at Alice in Wonderland. I don't stream very often on here, but if I do, it's just to practice songs and sing. Otherwise, you can find me in Soulful Six stream for meditation every Sunday, and then Into the Unknown, which I watch every Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern.
You're always in the comments. You're always out here. I love it. You guys, tonight I tried something new with going back into PowerPoint for my show, and I think in the copy and pasting, like I got all over the place. So it's going to be a little bit of a rocky show tonight. Y'all just bear with me. We're going to be good. So as I prepare for every show, I ask my guests questions. So I asked Rebel here, which of the 7 areas of the paranormal was your favorite? And I want you guys to guess in the chat while he tells us. What was your answer to my question?
So my favorite really actually is ghost hunting and haunted locations, and then also demonology, because I've always been more curious on that side of things. From experiences that I've had growing up as a kid and also on paranormal investigations.
Well, and you know what's so funny? Like, you don't really cross demonology until you start getting into it and doing some ghost hunting, right?
Right. It's really more something that you either experience at a young age or you just experience randomly. Yeah, it can hit you out of nowhere. You're not expecting something like that.
Yeah, it gets crazy. You guys, we're going to have a little bit of crossover from other streams coming in. I apologize for that. It seems like these featured shows, the guest box comes in and out, and you'll hear other noises, so just bear with us as we get going here. Just know it's not us, and we're trying to get through it too. So I went back through my notes, and I have some notes here that I'm going to kind of highlight on to kind of lead you into what we want to talk about. So you said that you had some experiences as a kid, plus some more while ghost hunting with friends. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So going back to, it was around 8 years old. I grew up in an apartment from birth up till 13. And pretty much very first experience I ever actually had with paranormal was encountering a shadow figure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I shared a room with my sister at the time, and we had bunk beds, and pretty much all apartments are set up where you have the long hallway.
Yeah.
You know, and see the front door from the back of the room. Getting up to go to the bathroom one of the nights, and saw this big shadow figure standing on the inside of the front door. And this is a solid corridor with a deadbolt lock on the second floor of an apartment. You're not getting in that door easily without a key, because you're not going to be able to break
the deadbolt, yeah,
for one, easily without anyone hearing you. Yeah. And I didn't know what to think. I thought it might have been a person at first, and they broke in.
Yeah, so
I yelled for my dad, who was asleep. He comes out.
We got crossover. Can you guys hear? There we go. Repeat that, because we had a little bit of crossover.
Yeah. Flips on the light, nobody there, and there's only one door in and out of the apartment. We're on the second floor. You try to go out the window, you're going to fall a story down. You know, you turn right, you're going into the kitchen, there's no exit, there's no windows.
Well, and you would have seen it at that point, right? Because you got this long
You would have seen somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that happen for very first experience. After that was more of a poltergeist activity. So it's a lot of doors opening and closing, a lot of banging on the walls. Weirdest thing about it was we didn't have neighbors on the other side of that wall.
Oh, wow. So you know it wasn't something explainable on the other side.
Right. And even we called the cops a couple of times for this, because it just was frequent so many times over every night.
Well, and at this point, you're probably thinking somebody broke in, right? And they're next door.
Right. So they're either in the apartment next door, or they're in the attic above and still making this racket.
Mm-hmm.
But the sound wasn't coming from above. It was coming from inside the wall.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was forceful enough where it would shake the wall and shake the room.
So it was something pretty major.
Not just the bed. The whole room would shake. And the cops actually showed up to this, and they actually had everybody from the apartment building exit their apartments and come into ours to still witness this and hear this.
Oh, wow.
And this is on police file in my hometown. Still today has this on police file. And actually one of them was leaning up against the bunk bed, because we had a ladder to go up and down. And he was leaning up against it, listening to this. And something hit with such force, hit him in the chest, knocked him backwards to the wall, hit the floor, got up, and he's like, I don't know if you guys believe in this, but if I were you, I would call a priest.
Wow.
And left the building.
So did y'all stay there for a period of time afterwards?
About 3 more months after that, and then I got out.
So have you gone back, done any research on it, looked into it anymore?
Nope. I've been on several other ghost hunts since, but even just going near that building just makes me uncomfortable.
It's just a no.
Those things where it's like that trauma just doesn't need to be revisited. You know, it got me into the field, it got me interested in it, but I just don't know if I want to take that chance.
But you have this experience, so you question. I love this, because it's kind of how I got into it too. You have an experience, it makes you question, where was this coming from? It scared a cop, right? You know, there was nothing on the other side, but it was forceful enough to shake the entire room. So that's what gets your curiosity going. And that's how a lot of us get started in this field. I don't know a lot of investigators that haven't had something happen, that have questioned and wanted to go find more. And a lot of us, you know, for me, it was my dad. Like, my dad came to see me, right? So for me, I've taken on the whole, I want to prove that there's an afterlife. You've had an experience where you're like, I want to prove that something else made these noises, shook this room, right? And whatever your other experiences are, add to that curiosity, right? So let's talk about some of your other experiences that you've had, that now you've had this first initial one, which is pretty major. So what are the next steps on your ladder to curiosity that has happened to you?
So one place that's actually in Scottsgrove, Iowa, Ghost Adventures. It's been on other hunting shows. I've been there 5 times investigating the place, and I've always been drawn back to it.
Oh, wow.
I don't really. It's like I get a sense of to the building where it feels familiar. The first time I went there, like it's familiar now because I've been there 5 times, but even the first time I went there felt familiar.
Yeah.
Where I knew where I was going, even in the dark. And there's no electricity to this building. You know, there's no heat, there's air conditioning, nothing. It's just, it used to be a poor farm when it first started out. And this was in early 1900s. It was like 1910 when this was built. Then in like 1930s, it switched over to both half poor farm, half sane asylum and hospital.
Interesting.
And it ran up until like 2010, and then it closed down. And the owners still have it today. They have a couple of trailers in the back of there that they have for like guests if they want to stay overnight, but they don't want to stay in the actual building. That's kind of like the safe zone.
Gotcha.
It's not a safe zone, by the way.
I was going to say, if it's active on the property, it's active on the property.
It's active on the land. Exactly. It's not a safe zone. They can think that, but it's not.
You know, and some people are safe thinking that, right? Like, okay, we're going to stay in the safe zone tonight. We're going to be okay. Okay, well, we hate to tell you, but no. No.
But with the group that I was with then, I was going to the basement, and the basement's known to have a more negative entity in that basement. They actually call the Joker.
Interesting.
They believe is a spirit of an old janitor that actually passed away in the basement of that building, in the boiler room area, which is actually the oldest structure of that building before they did some remodel and repairs to it. And so I always was the one that I actually had to go into the basement first. They would just push me to the front, and I would be the first one going down.
Were you like Aaron Goodwin? Were you fighting, hey, Zach, no, I don't want to go down there. Like,
yeah, I was at first. I was like, something just doesn't feel right to just willy-nilly go down.
Your senses are already going off.
You just need to be prepared for whatever's going around. And off to the right of the corner, the kitchen. Off to the left is like a cleaning area for the janitor for like if they had paint and repairs and stuff like that. And so I'm walking down there, ex-friend behind me, Rusty's behind me, and then there are a couple of female investigators behind that. And there's this big pot that was hanging on like a drying rack for the dishwashing area in the sink. And when I was walking down there, I had my headlamp on, I had my camera on, and you could hear this pot get lifted up off the hook and thrown straight towards our heads.
Oh, wow.
Probably a good 10 feet from this. Yeah. Yeah, I heard this. I jumped back because I'm not going to have a cast iron pot hit my head.
Right? You're like, wait a minute, I hear it.
Yeah. So I heard the clink of the metal at first, and I heard that, and I turned, saw this coming at me with my headlamp and camera, and I jumped back, and I was like, okay. And I'm counting the people in the group just to make sure that
everybody's there.
We're all accounted for. We're all here. And then I shout out, I'm like, if there's someone else here, make yourself known now.
And they're like, we just threw a pot at you. What else do you want me to do?
Right. Yeah. Well, I was thinking like someone was in the building because it was unlocked for us to go in.
So who else came in there with you? Hang on.
Yeah.
Whenever that crossover happens, we can't hear you. Okay, let's try it again. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So yeah, we split up to try to search the rest of the building. see if anyone else was still in there. Cause they don't...
This crossover kills me. If you guys are in the chat and you guys have access to VIP support or the people from the featured shows, will y'all start blowing them up? Because I've already been messaging them about this. It's horrible when you're trying to visit with a guest.
Featured shows. It's crazy.
It's every single one.
Yeah. So we split up. We searched the basement. There's nobody down there. There's nobody else in the building other than us at the time. But this pot was laying upside down a good 10 feet away from where it was hanging. Middle of the floor.
So after it got thrown at y'all and you go and you look to see if anybody else is there, was it still in the same spot when you went back down?
Yes.
So did y'all pick it up and put it back to see if it moved again?
Yep. I picked it up and hung it back on the hook. And with the weight of it, I mean, there's no way it could have fallen that far.
It's not like some breeze came through or you walked past it. You know, sometimes you can walk past stuff and it'll breeze.
Right. Now, that would have been more understanding of like if someone walked past and it like shook the rack or something and it just dropped off the rack. But
again, it's going to fall down, not out.
It's going to fall straight down, not 10 feet away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that you were there?
Yep, that was the first time.
Okay, so how long did you stay after that happened?
We stayed overnight.
So so this is like early on in the investigation.
Right. This was like 7:00 at night.
So now are you like all fired up, ready to go? Like you're ready for other stuff to happen? Or are you like,
oh, yeah.
Holy crap.
At that point, it was more of like an adrenaline rush, really, of like, okay, that happened. What else is going to happen through the night? What other evidence are we going to catch?
Yeah.
Beyond this, because if it's this active at 7:00 at night, that only means it's going to get more active.
Get more active as the night goes on.
As the night progresses.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I've even gone back 5 times, because it really didn't matter whether it was during the daytime or the nighttime. It was always active in some way.
See, and I want to make a point about that. Like I hate that my segment's only 20 minutes for you guys. So this is just an excuse for you to come back on the show. Lugs, let's get it back on the show. Here's what I want to point out though. So you're not expecting anything to happen. Something happens, right? Okay. Most of us think investigations should always happen at night because everything happens at night, the witching hour, right? But you made a really good point about doesn't matter if you go during the day, you're still having activity. And I want you guys to pay attention to that. He says, I went back 5 times, different times during the day. So you're documenting, you're researching, right? You're writing down all of your data. This is how we do a proper investigation. This is how we begin to prove things and try to get it out in the scientific community that, guess what? There is life after death. And now we're documenting it and we're tracing it down, right? We're doing it during the day. We're doing it at night. We're doing it on different days. We're doing it in different moon patterns, different weather patterns, like all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, because you never know which experience you're going to get depending on if it's if it's cold outside, if it's raining, if it's sunny, if it's daytime, nighttime, early morning. It doesn't matter. You're going to get some activity.
Okay, in the 5 times that you've been there, what's probably, other than the pot, what is probably one of the most hyped up experiences that you've had there, like really got your adrenaline going, aside from the pot?
So the 3rd time that I actually went there, because the first 2, we searched the whole building, and they added what they call like a viewing room on the 3rd floor on the very last side. And it wasn't there the first 2 times we were there. And this completely caught me off guard on the 3rd time, because you walk into the room, they had chairs set up, they had an actual casket.
What?
In the front. This there till this day, as we speak.
That's crazy.
And they had a mannequin inside the casket.
Creepy.
I saw that. I'm a brave person, okay? I walked in first before anybody else.
But
When I
that,
saw that, I took a beeline and went right back out that door.
I would have been like,
like,
you would have
no.
been hearing Scooby-Doo. I'm out.
That's exactly what I did. I turned right back around, right back out the door, right back into the hallway, and I sat down. I'm like, I'm not going in.
Like, I'm done.
No.
I'm done.
Said, you want me to go to the basement? I'll go to the basement. I'm not going back in the room.
Like, there's a couple of places I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go where the pot is. I'm not
You
going to
could
that
feel
room.
that shift in energy just walking through that threshold of that door. You could feel
Isn't that crazy?
like something didn't want you in that room. That was their domain, and you just trespassed.
Well, and and you also said, like, I was looking at my notes, you also said that you're an empath. So you're definitely feeling a lot of different things when you're going in, and not just this heaviness in this area.
One of the best areas I actually, and this was more of the side of the investigation, on the right side of the wing, there's a children's room where they had patrons for the hospital, and it's still set up. All the stuff that was there is still left there from over the years, and you could hear like the patter of footsteps of kids playing.
Oh, wow.
To that door. And then with
SB7
responses of children's voices coming through wanting to talk to you.
Oh, wow.
They wanted visitors. Yeah, and I'm like, I've been here a couple of times in the past, but I hadn't actually stopped and sat down in the room long enough to.
And had something, yeah. So did you get a sense that they were actual children's spirits? Because sometimes people say that demons kind of present themselves as children's voices too.
I was confused on that. It's actually a kid.
So now how do I
see this crossover? Okay, I'm done with this crossover. Here's what we're gonna do. Do you have time after the show to hang out?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to continue this interview in the after show because I am tired of this ruining. Every time you're trying to talk, it's
I understand.
I have to I can't drop my favorite word that I want to drop because this is featured. Y'all, we're going to do the after show with Rocker, and we're going to give you the respect that this show deserves without being interrupted by all this noise, because literally I started telling people it was the ghost in the show, but it's not. It's this over whatever, and it makes me so mad because we get into something good.
Than that, so.
Yep. Some. All right, so real quick, wrap up where we can find you when you stream, and then I want you to hang out, and then after I do the show closing video, we're going to get you back in the box, and we're going to go back to the story, and then we're going to finish talking to you, because I want to be able to hear this. I love when I find other investigators and we can chit chat, because I've been on this app for about 1.5 years now. And it seems like after my break, I came back, all my paranormal peeps are showing up. So this is y'all, this is like candy for me.
Right.
So I definitely, let's chit chat after the show. Go ahead and tell us where we can find you, and let's get this portion wrapped up, and then we're going to go live.
Okay. So this coming week, on Wednesday, I'll be on the crowning of Before and After Bariqua's show, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Thursday, House of Wonderland open mic night in Top Hat Alice in Wonderland stream. So those will be coming up for this next week. You'll find me there singing on both of those shows.
Nice. I love Alice.
Yes, I do too.
She's a Camaro owner like me.
Part of the MFW family, so.
We love her. All right, y'all be sure and fave him. He's going to come back for the after show. We're actually going to get to chit chat and talk, and then I can say some of my favorite words when I'm out investigating and I don't know about being featured. So let's do that. Let's pop you. Let's get you out of the box. We're going to bring you back in the box by himself. We're not going to have anybody else in unless we want to take questions, because I want to give you the proper credit and respect as an investigator. I want to pick your brain about some stuff. I still have some other questions for you to ask. So we'll do that in the after show. So that'll be fun to do.
Sounds good.
Y'all pop him with a fave. And if you're not faving him, unfave me. I'm just saying, that's my whole thing up in here.
All right, so quick reset for those of you just creeping in. You're listening to Into the Unknown. I'm Kraken, and tonight we're peeling back the layers of demonology, one ancient secret at a time. My guest tonight is Rebel Rocker. Please be sure and hit the fave on me, my guest, and each other in the comments. Let's take a look at who the top 3 gifters are at this point in the show. This is always the fun part, trying to get stuff to work, technology. Number 3 is Fairy Godmother. Number 2 is Kane. And number 1 is Mia. Thank you guys so much for the gifts and being here. Fave them, fave all the gifters, fave everybody in the comments, fave each other. You know, it's a fave party, even though it's a featured show. So, if you'd like to be on the show, please message me on IG or get a hold of Lugs. He's down in the comments. You can chit chat with him there. Definitely want to get Rocker back on for another show because, we're going to talk some more in the after show, but we want you on the show too. So stick around because the darkness, it's real and it's still ahead. Now, if we can get my PowerPoint to work appropriately again, we're going to go into the meat of the show about demonology. And you know, this crossover is driving me crazy. So just bear with me, you guys. All right. So now that we've peeled back the layers of demonology's dark history, let's swing into the spotlight onto something a little more empowering because ancient people weren't just afraid of demons, they fought back. The show's going to go a little bit longer tonight. I'm going to tell you all that right now. So we're good, okay? Welcome to tonight's paranormal area of the week, which is demonology. How demonology shaped ancient protection rituals around the world. So, for as long as humans have believed in dark forces, we've also believed in the power to protect ourselves from them. Cultures across the globe developed powerful rituals, symbols, and practices designed not just to banish evil, but to prevent it from ever gaining a foothold. Some of those rituals are still echoed today, quietly stitched into religion, folklore, and even paranormal investigation methods. So let's take a quick tour across the ancient world's supernatural armory. This is where I was trying to go earlier. And yeah. All right. So in Mesopotamia, amulets bearing Pazuzu's image were worn by pregnant women, not because he was a good guy, but because even other demons feared him. It was basically evil fought evil, ancient spiritual judo at its finest. In ancient Egypt, protective spells and amulets were placed inside tombs to shield the dead from evil spirits on their journey to the afterlife. Gods like Bez were invoked to scare off malevolent forces. In Greece and Rome, people carried atrapacic charms, symbols like the Gorgon's head, this way, Gorgon's head, to literally turn evil, and the evil eye. You guys are probably familiar with the evil eye. It was taken very seriously, and protective talismans were worn daily. In early Christianity, there was crosses, holy water, y'all seen my bottle like this, and prayer rituals became spiritual armor against demons, especially as Christianity spread into regions with pre-existing demonic traditions. The rite of exorcism formalized protection and banishment rituals that continue today. In Islamic traditions, the Ayat al-Kursi, which is the verse of the throne from the Quran, is recited for spiritual protection against shayatin, which are malevolent jinn and demons. We've talked about jinn before. Protective phrases, talismans, and amulets like the Hand of Fatima became widespread. In Africa and indigenous cultures, protective masks, such as this, ritual dances and spirit offerings were used to ward off dark forces. Shamans and medicine men acted as spiritual guardians for the community. Y'all are going to like this one. In Asia and Japan, Ani avoidance rituals included setting up boundary markers, purifying spaces with salt, and using charms like Ofuda to seal doorways against malevolent spirits. So they would actually have these masks that they would hang up. So, what do all of these rituals have in common? They have intention. Remember, we talk about intent. If you're going to protect yourself, you need to have intention. So that's a focused belief in the power to protect oneself. Symbolism, physical objects representing spiritual strength. Community. Many rituals weren't done alone. They were public, collective acts of spiritual defense. And there's the respect for the unknown. Protection rituals weren't about fear-mongering. They were about respect and readiness. In short, belief isn't just wishful thinking. Belief is armor. And in today's paranormal investigations, If you're stepping into haunted places like what we were just talking about, or even just feeling like something is just off, you can still use adapted protection rituals. Here are a few real world type techniques that modern investigators and smart everyday folks swear by. Excuse me. So let's start with the spiritual protections. You can carry a protective amulet or medal such as a blessed Saint Benedict medal, Hamza, sigils of protection, etc. You can perform a cleansing ritual before and after investigations using sage, Palo Santo, or even sound cleansing with bells. You can say a prayer or affirmation or use a grounding visualization before entering potential negative spaces. You can place salt barriers at thresholds, your windows and your doors, to ward off dark energy. As for physical and psychological protections, you can set a strong personal boundary before starting. Say aloud, nothing may attach to me, nothing may follow me home. Set a limit on emotional exposure. Negative spirits feed on fear, anger, and despair. Stay calm and detached. Use buddy systems. Always investigate in pairs or groups. Energy is stronger when shared. Have an exit strategy. Always have a clear mental plan for how to ground yourself and disconnect after visiting haunted locations. All right, so let's look at some crystals that you can use for spiritual protection. And if you guys want to take a screenshot of these, you can do that. So first up here is the black tourmaline. This absorbs and blocks negativity. It is great to wear during investigations. The second one, another one of my favorites, I have my favorite pendulum is made out of this, is amethyst. It protects the mind, strengthens intuition, and wards against psychic attacks. Another one of my favorites to carry is black obsidian. This acts as a mirror shield, reflecting dark energy away from you. And you always want with your crystals a clear quartz. It amplifies everything. So it will amplify your protective energy and can be programmed for intention setting. Now, here's a little pro tip for you. They don't have to be big. These are probably about the size of your palm in the pictures, right? But they don't have to be big. You can keep a small crystal in your pocket, in your gear bag. You can take all your crystals and put them in a small little bag and put them in your pocket. You can put them in your gear bag as well. It doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be yours. You can even use an organza bag to carry your crystals in and then put it in your pocket. Additionally, here's a simple protection prayer that you can use. You can screenshot this as well. You don't have to belong to a particular religion to set strong spiritual boundaries. This is a simple universal protection prayer that you can adapt. Take a screenshot. I'm going to let it sit here for just a minute. All you're going to say is, I stand in light. No harm may reach me. No darkness may enter. I am protected by my will, by my spirit, and by all forces of good. Only love and truth may walk with me. I am shielded. I am safe. I am free. You can whisper it, you can think it silently, or you can say it aloud. It's your boundary to set. All right, so let's wrap this up with my quick protection list. Again, take a screenshot if you would like. So, before investigating or entering a spiritually risky environment, remember to do these things. Again, feel free to screenshot this checklist so that you have it. You're going to set your intention. I am protected. I am grounded. You're going to protect your physical space. Salt, amulets, protective prayers. You're going to maintain emotional control. Fear feeds the dark. Confidence starves it. Respect the forces. Whether you believe 1% or 100%, respect is non-negotiable. When you're done, close the door. Clear your energy, cleanse yourself, and ground back into your real life. From Mesopotamia to modern times, humanity has always understood one fundamental truth. Where there is darkness, there must also be defense. Protection isn't about fear, it's about understanding that darkness exists and choosing to walk into it anyway, with a shield made of belief, willpower, and ancient wisdom. Because in the end, whether you're facing a restless spirit, a malevolent force, or just your own inner fears, it doesn't matter if it's a cross, a sigil, or a prayer, or an unshaken belief in your own strength. Protection rituals remind us that even in the face of the unknown, we are never powerless. Your light, your will, and your knowledge are the oldest, fiercest weapons humanity has ever wielded. And the shadows, they only win if you forget this. All right, so grab your notes. Let's get your guesses. Maybe a lucky charm because it's time to reveal the answers to our trivia questions. Let's find out who's been paying attention and who's about to get sent to Paranormal Summer School. All right, number 1. Which satellite system was responsible for the mysterious string of lights mistaken for UFOs over Austin, Texas? The answer is Starlink. British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker predicted full government disclosure on what paranormal topic in 2025? The answer is UFOs and extraterrestrial contact. Where did the second Loch Ness monster sighting of 2025 reportedly take place? That was in Urquhart Castle. What paranormal entity has seen a global spike in sightings, often described as dark humanoid figures seen in one's peripheral vision? That would be shadow people. What ancient civilization gave us early beliefs about demons like Pazuzu and Lamashtu? The answer is Mesopotamia. What is the term for an intense but non-possessive form of demonic influence, often causing fear, sleep disturbances, or depression? That would be oppression. Number 7, what investigative method should always be followed when first evaluating claims of paranormal or demonic activity? That would be the scientific method, questioning, documenting, seeking natural explanations first. Number 8, in a legitimate demonic case, what rare phenomenon might occur involving language? That would be speaking or understanding unknown languages, which is also called xenoglossy. Number 9, and we didn't get to talk about this, we're going to talk about this in the after show. Which family member of Rocker Rebels comes to visit him? That would be his aunt. We'll ask him about that here in the after show. And again, what is one thing you probably didn't know about Rocker Rebel? He's a sensitive. All right, so did y'all get the answers right? Did anybody going to summer school? I saw Kane said he's going to summer school. So, all right. Let's wrap up this episode, shall we? Let's get through the end of the show. Let's get into the after show. We're already after the show, so yeah. For those of you just creeping in the last minute, this is Into the Unknown, a featured show right here on the Meet Me app where we chase shadows, unravel mysteries, and occasionally stir up things that were best left undisturbed. I'm your host, Kraken. Tonight we cracked open the world of demonology, and we survived it. And I want to give a huge thank you out to my guest who we're going to share more time with here in the after show for diving into the dark with me. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that fave on me, my guest, each other in the comments. And let's be honest, you're going to need strong allies out there when the shadows start whispering. Massive thanks to everyone who tuned in, who showed love with gifts, who kept the energy high and the curiosity alive tonight. Special shout out to my show bouncers, the Guardians of the Gate, who kept the chat respectful, smart, and just the right amount of wild. Please make sure and favorite them and show them some love too. Now, let's look and see who the top 3 gifters were of the show. Number 3 is Kane. Number 2 is Mia. And number 1 is Jimmy Carbs. You guys, thanks so much for those gifts. Make sure you're favoriting the top 3 gifters and the whole gifter list, okay? We're all in here every Sunday, so let's make sure we're getting everybody a fave and we're supporting each other. So, if you'd like to step into the unknown with me as a future guest, whether you've got ghost stories, theories, or just an unstoppable curiosity, message me on Instagram. Let's make some magic happen. And that's a wrap on tonight's Delve into the Dark, the ancient and the absolutely fascinating world of demonology. From ancient spirits whispering through dusty text to the real-world lessons every investigator needs to know, we covered a lot of ground and probably raised a few new questions along the way. And that's good because that's what keeps us sharp, and we can talk about it in the after show. Remember, real strength in the paranormal field doesn't come from chasing shadows or screaming at the dark. It comes from asking the right questions, respecting the unknown, and always carrying a little bit of salt and a whole lot of common sense. So, thank you for venturing with me into the unknown tonight. Until next time, keep your flashlight close, your courage closer, and if the shadows start whispering your name, well, maybe don't answer them. Join me next week as we delve into ancient mysteries, and my guest will be Mr. Dar. I promise you won't want to miss this show because we're going to fire up my equipment and see what we can capture from Mr. Dar's location through the stream. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it. So, keep your senses sharp, your flashlight close, and your curiosity wide open. Sleep tight, dream change, and remember, when the shadows whisper, Kraken's already listening. Let's get through the closing video and we're going into the after show. Thank you for daring to come into the unknown with me tonight. I really appreciate your gifts, but what means the most to me is your being here and showing your support. If you would like to be on the show, send me a message on IG. The link is in my bio. Please stay for the after show segment as I spend the next 30 minutes continuing to talk about what we covered in the show and answering any questions you may have regarding the paranormal field. I hope to see you all again next Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern, where we will go back into the unknown. Have a great night and enjoy your week.